Hey guys, it's Alora, and today I'm going to be filming my March and April wrap-up combined. So I didn't film during March at all, which is why I'm combining my wrap-up because I thought it would still be fun to tell you about the books that I've read. So here we go. The first book that I read was actually an audiobook, so I listened to it, and it was The Opportunist by Taryn Fisher. The basic premise is our protagonist runs into an old love, so this guy that she'd really cared about had been in a relationship with, but the relationship had gone south. And it's been a couple years. She runs into him at a record store and gets to talking and finds out that he was in a terrible car accident and has amnesia, so he doesn't even remember who she is. So the book is about her dealing with her inner struggles, about the morality of taking advantage of the fact that her ex-love no longer remembers her. So she knows all of these things about him, his likes and dislikes, and he knows nothing about her, so he can't remember all of the bad stuff. Anyway, I absolutely loved this book. I definitely gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. If you're looking for a great audiobook, check out Taryn Fisher's work. I still like Mudvayne better, but The Opportunist was really, really good. The next book that I read was The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up by Marie Kondo. This book is written by this Japanese woman who is an organizational expert, and she helps people put their homes and their office spaces in order. And it was really good. It's a New York Times bestseller, and lots of people have been buying it and reading it. Her method is very different from conventional tidying wisdom, but it's supposed to be really good. I read it in the middle of March, and I have since started my tidying process. So there are very specific steps that you have to follow. The first thing that you do as a category is clothes, and I finished that. I got rid of over 100 things, actually, which is crazy, and now the next step is books, which I'm nervous about, and I don't really know how many books I'm going to be getting rid of, but I'll show you all of them before I do get rid of them. I'll do an unhaul video, so hopefully that's kind of fun to see. The next book that I have to show you is What Do You Want to Do Before You Die? And I talked about this a little bit in my book haul, my spring book haul video, but I'll talk about it again really quickly. Basically, this book is just a collection of pictures with these little passages about the things that people want to do before they die, and some of them are a little bit longer. They have an actual paragraph talking about something that happened, and some of them are just one-sentence quotes, and it was fun to go through. It took me a couple hours. I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars. Like I said, it was enjoyable, but it wasn't fantastic. There was nothing super special about it, and I didn't really find myself inspired by the end of it, which is what I was hoping for. The next book that I want to talk about is Dirty Red, and this is also by Taryn Fisher. I also listened to it on audiobook. I do a lot of driving, so audiobooks are my best friend. This book is the second book in the Opportunist trilogy, and it picks up right about where the last one left off, but the thing is, it follows a different protagonist, and that really got me. I didn't like it in this book. Why I didn't like it is it was following Leah, who is the current girlfriend of Caleb, who is the ex-boyfriend of our main character in The Opportunist, and she is really kind of bitchy. She's a nasty piece of work, and so I didn't really enjoy reading from her perspective. While it was interesting to see how she justified her actions and why she thought the way she did, her thought process was still super screwed up, and I didn't really enjoy it as much. So I think I gave it a 4 or 4.5 stars because I still really love Taryn Fisher and her writing style. I just wasn't a big fan of the perspective shift. The next book that I read, I'd been wanting to read since it came out in January, and that is All the Bright Places by Jennifer Niven. I flew through this book. It was really a fast read for me, but I have quite mixed feelings about it. On Goodreads, I gave it a 5 stars. What that really means is I gave it a 4.5 stars, but I might even consider only giving it a 4 stars. It was compulsively readable, but I did have some problems with it. It was told from multiple perspectives. One of them was Finch, who I really liked. I loved his perspective, and one of them was Violet, and she was kind of a downer. She was bland, and I didn't really care about her at all. So that made it hard to really like this book. The other thing is the way that people handle Finch, and if you read the book, I'm sure you'll know it's maybe I'll give you a little bit. I don't think it spoils to say this, but Finch is incredibly suicidal, and he thinks about suicide a lot, he talks about it a lot, and people kind of laugh it off and don't handle the situation appropriately. So, trigger warning, there's suicide in this book, but just, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it could have been handled better. Maybe not. I don't know. It's up to you. Read it. It was good. It really was good. If you liked 13 Reasons Why, or it's kind of a funny story, you'd probably like this book. It's very similar. Not similar in a bad way, just similar in a if you like this, you'll like that kind of way. Next up, we have Thief, which is the third book in the Opportunist series, and I also listened to this on audiobook, and I liked this one a lot more than the second one, but I didn't like it as much as the first one. So Thief is told from Caleb's perspective, and Caleb is the boyfriend who had amnesia, and I love the guy that reads the audiobook. His voice is so wonderful. He's British, and it's really hot, and just, it's perfect, guys. But the book is really good too, so I really enjoyed it. I don't want to give you any spoilers, but it also picked up from where the second book left off, and these books, all three of them, they go back and forth between the past and the present, and I really like that format. I was really pleased to see how he perceived different situations that had happened in the first two books. Next up, we have a book from Colleen Hoover, and that is Ugly Love. This is my second attempt to read Colleen Hoover, and I was very pleasantly surprised. The first book that I read of hers was Maybe Someday, and I didn't really care for it, but this one was so much better. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. It was really good. I read through it super quickly. There definitely is mature content in this, so be forewarned, but it was a really good story. I actually cared about the characters, and I thought her writing was really good. And she really fleshed out the characters and got me interested in their lives, their past lives and their future lives, and I just really liked it. So check this one out. If you haven't read any Colleen Hoover yet, this might be a good one to start with. Next up, we have The New Health Rules by Frank Lipman and Danielle Claro. This book was good. I enjoyed reading it. It was really quick to read because there are just pictures with, you know, some words opposite, and it has a lot of different advice. It has food advice, exercise advice, mind-body connection advice, just being relaxed at home advice. It was good. I enjoyed it. I didn't agree with everything that was in it, and that might be because I have a very specific diet for a very specific reason. I'm vegan, if you didn't know. Anyway, this book is not a vegan health guide, so some of it I didn't agree with, but a lot of it was really solid advice. Then I picked up Surprise, Embrace the Unpredictable and Engineer the Unexpected by Tanya Luna and Leanne Reniger. And this book was really fun. I really enjoyed it. I give it a 4.5 out of 5 stars. Essentially, these two women are both experts. One of them is an actual research psychologist, and one of them just has her own business and has been doing this for a long time. They're both experts on surprise, and surprising yourself, surprising other people, keeping life interested, keeping yourself motivated because life is interesting, and all of that sort of stuff. I love the format, the way they did it. At the end of every chapter, they had a little recap of what the chapter had talked about, which was really helpful for me to remember all of the little tips and tricks. One of my favorite was to under-promise and over-deliver. That way people will always be pleasantly surprised when they receive more than they were expecting. The only thing that knocked this book down a little bit for me was that I was expecting more examples of things to do to surprise yourself and surprise other people, and there weren't that many. There were the concepts, but there weren't specific examples, and I am definitely an example person. I love seeing exactly what they mean through an example, and this didn't really have that. But other than that, I really enjoyed it. I would recommend it if you're interested in psychology like I am. Last but not least, but maybe it is least because I didn't really enjoy it, is The Opposite of Loneliness by Marina Keegan. And this is a collection of essays and short stories that this young woman wrote. Marina Keegan went to Yale University, and when she was 22 years old, she was killed in a car accident. And her parents and one of her teachers compiled a bunch of her writing because she wanted to be a writer as a profession. And they put it into this book and published it. And I thought that was a really cool idea, so I decided to check it out. I wasn't really impressed by it. Marina was very self-aware, which I appreciated, but she was also super pretentious. I guess you can expect that from a Yale graduate, not to be rude or anything, but I mean, you can expect a little bit of highbrow from that crowd, but it was too much for me. I didn't really appreciate it. She had a very particular storytelling method where she was basically taking snapshots of people's lives, but the problem is there wasn't usually a takeaway or a moral message or anything like that, so it just felt like the story started abruptly in the middle of a random place and then it ended abruptly in the middle of a random place, so that you just got a little glimpse into someone's life, but it didn't really give you any follow-through. There was no moral, so that was hard for me. Plus, I'm not really a short story person in general, so that probably dragged it down. Overall, I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars. Okay guys, those are the only books that I managed to read in the months of March and April. I was incredibly busy, not to give excuses, but you know, here's my excuse. I was ridiculously busy with school. It was the end of the semester and everything was just piling up and I didn't feel like I wanted to take the time to film, so I'm sorry about that. I'm happy to be back and I hope you enjoyed this video. Definitely be sure to check out my spring book haul if you haven't seen that one already, and my TBR Rainbow Bookshelf tour, because that is a really fun video that I just did recently. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed and I will see you really soon with my next one. Until then, stay happy, stay healthy. Bye guys.